Good day, friends. I hope you're doing really well. This is Tracy Brown, and my team and I provide non-diet, trauma-informed nutrition counseling so that you can feel safer in your own body and be the expert, of your nutrition and movement and have all the agency you want. So anyway, long spiel there, but just want to make sure that you all remember that health is very multifaceted, and it's not just how much you do or don't move and what you do or don't eat. There's so many factors. And one of the big ones that we will work with our clients on is our nervous system health regulation. And if our body is constantly in this fight or flight or freeze or please response, we just don't absorb, we don't ingest in according, so eat. We don't eat according to like, oh, my body's needing more protein. Oh, my gut's telling me I could use some fiber. We're not really good at being attuned to the information inside of us because we're too busy in a threat response. We don't heal in a threat response. We don't learn in a threat response. So one of the ways in which we help people with health anxiety is just to recognize there's a lot of activation based on the thoughts you have around health. That's kind of step one, is that if we don't like become a compassionate witness, like, wow, every single time I feel like a pop or any kind of noise inside my body or sounds or sensations inside my body, my immediate thought is like something's wrong with me, versus curiosity. Yeah, like wonder what that could be going on. I mean, you can start to think a little bit more big picture about, is it that you need some more education or knowledge about nutrition or some kind of health condition that maybe could be on the radar? Or is it like, oh, not every time we feel a sensation that means something's bad or wrong. It's just that in general, I've overcoupled discomfort with a threat. And so just by being able to be this witness, this compassionate witness, you can start to practice just having another choice besides knee-jerk black or white thinking or catastrophic thinking or worst case scenario thinking, whatever it is that kind of your brain has a pattern or a habit of doing. That definitely won't lead to health. What happens when we get reliant on the constant black or white negative thinking around our body sensations health? We start to look at Dr. Google and all the possible ways in which something is really could be going bad. Now, that's not to say that we don't encourage people to go to the doctor and get your checkups, get your scans, make sure everything's okay. But so much of the time when people think something's wrong, it's really that we just don't know how to, we don't have enough differentiation and enough experience. Like, not everything that we feel inside that's uncomfortable is a threat. Sometimes we have a discomfort as human beings, and we can provide comfort for that and without harming ourselves, but we have to get clear first, because if we don't, we do a lot of avoidance of self-care, we do avoidance of medical care, and we just do avoidance of our bodies, which over time that leads to neglect, right? And that's not great for our bodies, but it's also not great for our relationship with ourselves and relationship with other people. And, it sets on this whole spiral of abandonment and neglect that we do to ourselves, which causes bigger emotions and more flashbacks and stuff like that. So this topic actually is pretty important. So another thing that we do around helping people become a compassionate witness to any kind of health anxiety, sometimes we do need some really solid the physiology of how the body works when we feel safe, the physiology of what's happening in dysregulation. Because of course, if you're dysregulated, you're probably going to have more gut health issues. You're probably going to have more stress-related diseases over decades. And being able to understand that and not to blame yourself or shame yourself, but just like, how can we work our way back to the potential of some healing, even if you're not fully, fixed or restored, that you know how to take care of yourself well, and just know your signs and symptoms of stress and versus what are actual symptoms of threat. So I think that's it. There's just two main things, and really it's a practice. It's a daily practice that has to be done daily in between sessions to be able to separate yourself from those kind of the stories, basically, that like every discomfort as a threat, and the knee jerk usually in our culture, because we've all been programmed, and I know we talked about in the last video on Monday, is that we have programmed to be anxious and stressed about our health. We have programming to think that weight gain is the worst possible thing that could ever happen. And so sometimes that's just how our brain thinks now, because it was taught, and then out of necessity or survival, we kept agreeing with it. And now it just becomes kind of what our default is, even though none of it could be true. All right. So we talked about that in the last video. So that's part of that too, of course, is if we can recognize, why am I doing this to myself? Why every time, something kind of elevated, my first thought is like, lose weight. That doesn't seem, if we really think about that, doesn't seem rational, because there's all kinds of reasons. We could have all kinds of situations, circumstances, symptoms. Not everything's to do with our body size. And if our body size is causing maybe no health conditions, but physical discomfort, it's like, well, what are our options? Maybe you feel like it's not an option to go back to dieting, but you feel desperate, like you have to not have discomfort. But I think sometimes we forget that there are discomforts in life, and regardless of body size, and because we have so much conditioning that we're not supposed to be uncomfortable, we can just control ourselves and all of our behaviors 24/7, then we'll eliminate all discomfort. That's not rational either. I mean, as we change, as we grow, as people go through different life circumstances, as we age, thin or small, medium, or large, we're gonna have body discomforts, and weight loss isn't necessarily going to fix it all, even if it could stick, right? Sometimes it would fix some physical discomforts, but unfortunately the price to pay is an eating disorder, so there's a lot of things to consider here as we continue to discuss health anxiety. So I hope these 2 video series was helpful around this topic for you. And, obviously, if you need more support, reach out to us one-on-one. Please be using the resources on tracybrownrd.com. There's 4 free resources that talk, and 2 of them would be really beneficial to be working on. One of them is a lot of the interoceptive awareness one, and the other one is, in your skin. And that helps us learn how to differentiate feelings and sensations from threats. And that goes a long way, that skills just to be doing daily, to be able to feel like that what's going on inside of you isn't triggering you so much, and you can identify what's happening and make sense of it, and just focus on self-care, basically. Get out of the weight loss machine and just get into self-care. But sometimes we avoid our bodies, so then we don't provide the self-care, and we continue we try to manage what's happening with our minds, and our minds don't always know the truth, because they've been conditioned. So that's the videos for today. If you need more help, please reach out. I'd be happy to help you. And that's all. I hope you have a great weekend and you enjoy the blog kind of recap of all this. And hope you have a really great day. Bye for now.